So at the time of recording, Arsenal do sit third in the Premier League, and today we've got a tactic all about Arteta. Now, they're playing some good football, I think being a little bit overlooked by Chelsea and Liverpool so far this season, but he's still a great manager, and I thought, you know what, there's a lot of Arsenal fans that watch his content, let's give them what they want. So if you do enjoy the tactics, be sure to leave a like and subscribe, and once again, leave a comment below who you think is going to win the Premier League this year. For me, I'm going to back Liverpool, and I hate saying it, but I think they're going to get the job done. But let's go over into the testing, and you know it's going to be Arsenal first. Right then, so with Arsenal, we put on an absolute masterclass, an Arsenal class, if you want to say that. And I will say, we put on, the Carabao Cup, we absolutely tore through. 3-0 over Liverpool, so that's a great start to get things going. We then go into the FA Cup, where we are going to go and beat Tottenham 2-0, which is a really nice thing to see, because no one likes to lose against Tottenham, especially in a cup final. But the main real statement is going to be this Premier League, as we nearly go invincible, only 2 losses against Aston Villa and Bournemouth, and this front three, the front three come alive. They really did. Bukayo Saka, top goal scorer, Martinelli, 27, Gabriel Jesus with 25. They really did link in well, and I will say, Kai Havertz pretty much got shoved to the bench for this season, as Gabriel Jesus was actually pretty much on fire. Martinelli and Odegaard also joint most assists, both with 35. This is by far one of the more attacking but patient build-up tactics I've ever released, in my opinion. David Raya also picks up a ton of clean sheets, and I will say, in general, although we are playing as a real top team, I would say we've somewhat overachieved in terms of the stat side of things, as we take home, 7 stat lines? We'll take it. And I imagine the data hub as well is going to look really nice. It is going to be 4.11 goals per game, 0.42 conceded, 24.71 shots per game, a great pass completion, and a very good tackle win ratio. You're not going to get much better than that. And now I know we are Arsenal, but there are other big teams in the league. These stats, they can't be put down on. They're really good stats. Now I'm going to choose a game full of goals, and it is going to be a game against West Ham, which we actually won. We won 8-0, and you can actually see some goals that we did score. And I tell you what, a lot of the goals were pretty much direct passes, just a little zip-zap, bit of play inside. That is more of the pass and play you're going to see. That's one of the more attractive goals on the eye of the entire video, as Martinelli is going to pretty much lever it into Saliba to make it 4, and there is still time to go and make it 5. This, by the way, was just, this was just us getting going, really. This was us inside of 20 minutes. We actually, this might be a record. It might be a record. We actually go, what is that, 5-0, I believe, up in 20 minutes. That is now going to be, it's goal after goal. It's absolutely ridiculous. West Ham completely fell apart. It was all of these goals inside of 21 minutes. They offered absolutely nothing. And let's face it, it's probably what West Ham would do in real life. They're having a stinker of a year. I'm going to test with Barcelona, because when I think of Arteta, I think of that sort of Spanish vibe. Barcelona, nice pass and play, and we put on a great season here. We actually do win the Champions League against Arsenal, which I will show you. The Spanish Cup, we are also going to win 4-0 over Real Madrid, and runners-up in the Super Cup. Unfortunately, Real Madrid a little bit too strong on the day, but in terms of the league, again, it's one game off being invincible, and that loss is against Mallorca of all teams. Now, I will say, we nearly, can you imagine losing the season? There's only a 6-point gap, and you've won 36 games. That's how close this competition actually is. And once again, Yamal tops the charts at average rating. I did lock him in for a whole season because I wanted to see how good he was in this system. Ansu Fati had a great year as well. A load of players did, to be honest. A real strong season. And even in possession sense, 59%, really good, lots of goals, lots of shots, lots of dribbles being made, and defensively, once again, we're an absolute joke. A real good season, and a little bit less goals going in, but again, a better pass completion. That I'd say sacrificed a little bit of the shots per game and goals for more ball control. So overall, it balances out quite nicely, to be fair. And you go into it, Spanish First Division winners, Champions League winners, Spanish Cup winners. It's the treble. I will just show you that we did win it to prove it, but we are going to watch a different set of highlights because it's pretty boring. It's just a penalty shootout. I'll go and find a game with some goals. That's where the Spanish Cup final comes in. This is against Real Madrid, by the way, and I will say, when you're playing a team like Madrid, whatever team you're playing as, if you're beating them 4-0, you know you've got a good tactic, and that's exactly what we've done. With De Jong with a ball in, again, the set pieces are absolutely remarkable, and it doesn't end there. It's ball after ball, and they completely crumble. Now with a slightly more challenging test, shall we say, with RC Lens. I used a random team generator, if you're wondering what come to my head to pick them. We actually lift the French Cup as well, 5-0 over FC Nantes. The Champions League, it didn't go too well, I will be honest, but the French League did go very well. Nowhere near invincible, and Marseille were right behind us. But do you know what? We got the job done, which is a surprise with RC Lens. PSG without Mbappe is it's a very interesting sight, I will say. The Zola comes in with 27 goals. We've got 3 players in that average rating, and we've got 2 in the assists. And our goalkeeper picks up the most clean sheets. Now, what's interesting is we actually did manage to outscore PSG by quite a fair few goals. Possession, we're nowhere near on this occasion, but in terms of the attacking side of the game and the defensive side, we outclassed everyone, and I imagine the Data Hub is going to back it up as well. It is the least amount of goals we have scored, but this is the weakest team, so it does make sense in that regard. The pass completion's still there with 89%, a lot of shots per game, and hardly any conceded per game. So do you know what? I'm going to take the French double any day. Of course, not over to your favourite part of the video, that is going to be the tactic breakdown. If you are enjoying, be sure to leave a like and subscribe. And once again, if you do want to check out some rebuilds, head over to my second channel, Daily Josh, in the description below, where we post a rebuild between every 2 to 3 days. And yes, there is going to be an Arsenal rebuild on there, so make sure you go over and show some love, because we've got endless content coming up. Now, to load this tactic in, all you want to do is go ahead and create your own style. And of course, today it is going to be none other than a 4-3-3. Let's go talk tactics. So then, the clean slate has been applied. Mentality is now going to be positive. They are the first 2 changes you want to make, and the third one is going to be the player role. So we are going to start off with the sweeper keeper, who is going to come in and simply be set to the default. Nice and simple so far. Now, when it comes to the back line, we're going to start with the centre backs. Now, of course, with Arteta's system, they are both going to be ball-playing defenders. If you are playing in a team where you haven't got 2 ball-playing defenders, you could sacrifice one for a central defender, but of course, it would not be as smooth playing out from the back. Now, when it comes to the wing backs, they are going to be exactly the same. They are going to feature with 2 wing backs. You don't really see too much of the inverting going on much anymore. You know, Zinchenko is not guaranteed to be in the team. It's not really the same sort of style as what we saw at the start of the season or even last season. So there is a bit of a change going on. The wing backs, we are actually going to have them both on cross less often, run wide, and also tackle harder. That's going to be the same for the left back, and also the same for the right back as well. Now, these wing backs, I'll be honest with you, they do get forward, they do get stuck in, but they're not going to pick up as many assists as maybe like a Trent would or a Robertson would, where they're really prioritised to go up and get the assists. But they do play a pretty crucial role, so make sure you've got wing backs that have got good stamina, good work rate, and can hack going up and down the pitch. Now, going up to the midfield, we are going to go with a DM, who is simply going to be on support, and he's going to have some instructions. Those are going to consist of take fewer risks and also set to tackle harder. This is going to be the Declan Rice of the team. I would like to quickly say, if you are interested, by the way, in getting all 3 of these tactics, also get them on mobile and console, and all of these perks down here, you can come and sign up to the Patreon and be part of a team of 4,900 people, and you've still got time to enter this month's £500 giveaway, split between 5 winners, which I'll tell you what, last month, it was nice to see, because we had a guy on the channel who won it, who's been watching literally since I had about 2k subs. So do come on over and get involved. There's endless perks and endless chances for you to win match tickets and loads of other stuff. I do my best to give back where I can. But going up to the pitch, we are going to go through and talk some of the player roles. It's going to be the advanced playmaker on attack, and we are going to have 2 instructions. Those are going to be consistent of roaming from the position and also tackling harder. Now, what is great about this is the Odegaard role, by the way, as well, is when you partner in, which I'm now going to do with the next player, which is the Roman playmaker. When you partner in with this Roman playmaker, who is going to be on tackle harder, you essentially have what I like to call the perfect triangle. You've got someone who sits deep, going to do the dirty work. You've got a player who does a mix, he play makes, but he also will put in a challenge and get stuck in. Then you've got one player here who is purely about supplying the front 3, and that's what you need in a system like this. Now, speaking of the front 3, on the left-hand side, we are going to go with an inside forward, who is going to be set to support, and he's going to have 2 instructions, roam and also tackle harder. On the right-hand side, we are going to go with the inverted winger, who is also going to be set to support, and he's going to have 2 instructions again, roam and also set to tackle harder, with the default advanced forward. Now, a couple of things. You could actually opt to have shoot more often on Bukayo Saka. He cuts in a lot and he does have more shots. For us, we save that for the attacking version, but if you want to, you can have it on and it would be completely fine. But now, of course, let's go over and talk about some of the team instructions. Starting off with the attacking width, of course, down to fairly narrow. They play quite a compact shape. Playing out from the back is absolutely vital, while focusing down the left and the right-hand side. A lot of wide plays done. Saka and Martinelli, of course, key points of that Arsenal team. Low crosses are also going to be favoured with a slightly higher tempo and a shorter passing directness, and with the dribbling style we are going to go with run at defence. Now going on to the next one, in transition, that is going to be counter press, counter, distribute quickly and simply roll the ball out, nice and simple. And next up, out of possession, is going to be the famous higher defensive line from Arteta, with that high press much more often and prevent short goalkeeper distribution. And that's going to give you the default version of the tactic that was tested with Arsenal, now to the attacking one that was tested with Barcelona. So this one is a little bit different, although shares the same sort of principles, of course the same shape, the same style, but this time the mentality is going to go up to attacking. So one up, it still is going to be on the clean slate, and we are going to talk through the player roles first. Now the goalkeeper does remain the same, the wing backs remain the same, the ball players remain the same, the DM the same, the midfield not the same. When we go to the more attacking options, the AP now on get forwards alongside of Rome and tackle harder. The central midfield player replaces the Roman playmaker who comes in on attack. So we've got two players that are in midfield that will look to attack instead of playmake. Now the inside sort of players, the inverted wingers and the inside forwards, to me personally, because this was tested with Barcelona, we have got two players that can have shots at goal. We had Jamal and Rafinha. If you're in the same sort of boat, make sure you've got shoot more often on. If you don't, have it unticked, and the advanced forward, shoot more often and also tackle harder, now being applied. Now this tactic is designed to get you back into a game, or if you are playing as a powerhouse, you can play all your games with it. So make sure you've got all three tactics whenever you download one of mine, because you need all three to match up the same results with each team, because you have to switch up tactics throughout a season anyway. How simple is this? Clicking from 1, 2 and 3. It doesn't get much easier than that. But the team instructions, again, down to fairly narrow. We're also going to go with the low crosses. This time, pass into space while focusing down the left and the right and playing out from the back. The tempo is going to go up by 1 to slightly higher, with the passing down to shorter, and the dribbling style, the dribbling does remain the same. In transition, counter press and counter, distributing quickly and simply rolling the ball out. And lastly, out of possession, we are of course going to whack up the line to much higher, get stuck in, prevent short goalkeeper distribution, because we've got 3 players pushed up, it makes sense to. And of course, we are going to max out the trigger press to much more often. And that's going to give you the attacking version. The defensive version, obviously for smaller teams and to seal out a game, is a lot more possession orientated. Now it does have a couple of the same principles. The clean slate and the positive mentality are going to be exactly the same. And when it comes to the back line, there isn't too much difference. So the goalkeeper and both of the ball players do remain the same. The wing backs also do remain the same, because at the end of the day, they didn't put a foot wrong. They don't need to change really. Now the DM is going to come back into the team on take fewer risks, shoot less, hold the position and also tackle harder. A central midfield player comes in instead of the AP, on support, on pass it shorter, shoot less, roam and move into the channels, just to link up the play and really be a bit of a nuisance really. A Roman playmaker comes back into the team on pass it short and also tackle harder. The inverted winger on the right, pass it short, roam and tackle harder. The inside forward, pass it short, roam and also tackle harder. And the advanced forward, pass it short and tackle harder. So now we are going to a much more possession orientated style of play, where you're not going to have as many shots, not as many goals, being honest, but you are going to have a lot more possession. And this was actually tested with Lens. So I mean, it worked in the French league with a weak team. There is no reason why this won't work with a smaller team anywhere. It's very controlling and you won't score as many goals, but you will have a lot more of the ball. Now the attack and width is going to go down to fairly narrow. The final third, we are going to go with low crosses. And because it's more of a possession-based tactic, we are going to go to dribble less in the dribbling style. Now, this, of course, is very different to running at the back line, trying to get loads of goals. But, of course, this is a controlling tactic. I will keep saying it because there's a couple of times where I keep saying, you know, the tactic's different. You're going to have more possession, not as many goals. And I see a comment where it's like, I didn't score many goals. You won't score many goals. You are going to have a lot of the ball and dominate the ball pretty much flawlessly. Passing is going to go all the way down to much shorter, which does lower the tempo to slightly lower. In transition, we're going to counter press. We are still going to counter because I don't want to be a negative Nancy and just hold the ball. We are still going to counter attack, and this time we're going to play to anyone across the back line while simply rolling the ball out. And lastly, we are going to deploy that standard line with the high press, the maxed out trigger press, will prevent short goalkeeper distribution, and that is going to give you boys 3 versions of Arteta's 4-3-3, 24-25. Now I know he sometimes plays a 4-2-3-1, so if you do want to see that 4-2-3-1 video, if this video gets 80 likes, I'll make it happen. If you have enjoyed, be sure to leave a like and subscribe, and once again, make sure you're subscribed and got that bell on, because even if you're not interested in the rest of this year, FM25, there's almost going to be daily tactics and rebuilds on the second channel. You do not want to miss out. I'll see you in the next one.